Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101 get the sports in a second on the Bulls and the Cubs. Big announcement with the Bulls. Or I'm sorry, the Cubs coming up here. The Bulls, not a big announcement. They lost. We'll get to that in a minute. But still following the Indiana-Illinois war that possibly started here on this show the last half hour, with Indiana announcing they're putting a bill through to grab counties from Illinois that want to secede. Many of them have done that. They've actually voted this in their own counties because of the high taxes in Illinois, which I get. I've considered moving to Indiana myself to actually be able to afford a house for my daughter and my wife. Yeah. So I'm very conflicted on this war that I've started this morning.
This is war. You're in the fog of battle right now.
I'm seriously. But Pat checked in from Bloomingdale this morning, and he said, kind of in my own introspective self here now, you guys spent too much time thinking about whether you could do a war and not whether you should do a war. Quoting, of course, my favorite movie line of all time from Jurassic Park.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Oh, we didn't do that this morning at all.
The Q101 Morning Crew. Sports.
Okay, as we said, the Bulls lost. But it's not just that. The Bulls had a chance to redeem themselves after getting embarrassed by the 9-win Pelicans the night before. And last night, they simply chose not to redeem themselves, losing to the Hawks without their star, Trae Young, 110-94. Chicago and Ayo Dosunmu returned. I love him. We have his shoes here in the studio, autographed shoes, courtesy of our friend UC Eric. But it didn't matter. He had 9 points. Who did well? Keaton Wallace scored a career-high 27 points to help the Hawks beat the Bulls. Keaton Wallace, heard of him? Nope. Don't know who he is. He dropped 27 to beat the Bulls, and he nearly doubled his previous career high of 14. He made 4 3-pointers and had 6 assists. This is his best game ever against the Bulls.
It's not good because I follow the NBA really closely, and I don't know who that is. That does not happen often.
Watch his highlights. He looked awesome against the Bulls.
I'll check that out.
It's terrible. Terrible situation with the trade deadline February 6th. 6th coming up. Trade them all and start over. This seems to be a compelling theme with all of Chicago sports teams at this point, but the Bulls are tied up in big contracts. We talked about this yesterday with Zach LaVine. They have to do something. They can't trade Zach LaVine. They tried. He's got 3 years left, $150 million, which will fund the war nicely if we get rid of Zach LaVine.
Can you imagine being Zach LaVine, knowing that no matter how you play, no matter how good the Bulls are or wherever you go, you're owed $48 million over the next, or each year for the next 3 years?
Each year.
God, that's got to be nice.
It'd be really cool to not have to worry about, that gas bill was really cold last month. It's gonna. Oh no, I got $48 million coming in.
Fine, I don't have nothing to worry about.
I got it on auto pay. Nothing's gonna happen to the bank account. It's fine. Former Chicago Cub and fan favorite Sammy Sosa will officially attend the 2025 Cubs convention. They announced yesterday. We all thought this was going to happen after they made Sammy bend at the knee and apologize for some transgressions that may or may not have happened during the greatest home run race of all time with him and Mark McGwire that actually, by the way, remember, saved baseball. But he said he left it all on the field in his quote. This was like about a month ago when he said this. And I love Sammy Sosa to death. I don't think he should have apologized because he made them millions and millions and millions of dollars. But this was probably the concession to get him to the convention and get back in their good graces. If it brings a statue of Sammy Sosa in that great line Ryan Sandberg's statue just added there recently, fine. Say an apology and get it done and get back in the Cubs' good graces. I predict Sammy will be singing the 7th-inning stretch in the season some point.
I'd like to hear that.
But he will be at the convention, which is coming up, of course, this week, January 17th to the 19th at the Sheraton Grand Chicago, which is right across the street from us, I believe.
Should we go see Sammy Sosa?
We should be able to get him in tomorrow, don't you think?
I can try.
Kenzie, they know him at the charity event they worked with on the America.
Yeah.
I know Kenzie's homesick right now, but Kenzie, how about sending a text?
You can send an email from home.
Let's get Sammy on the show tomorrow.
A little cold's never stopped anybody from sending an email.
Come on, let's do this. That's amazing. One of the best sluggers in history of Major League Baseball, Sammy Sosa, back in the spotlight of the Cubs, which will help us with losses and not making the playoffs, having Sammy Sosa there. Finally, a little more saga on my snowmobile situation. I have not bought one. This started 2 days ago when my wife, who is now using our credit card miles, points, she used this to buy a ticket and a game ticket to go to the playoff game for the Eagles and the Rams. She's from Philadelphia, big Eagles fan, of course. And she's going, and we thought this morning during sports, this was like 2 days ago, that I could block that by buying a snowmobile with our points before she woke up. I failed in that attempt, but now I'm all in on snowmobiles. Now I really think I have to have a snowmobile.
I'm just trying to think of, every day somebody's listening to the show for the first time. And if there was somebody out there listening to a lesser radio station for years and years and years, and they hopped over to us today, and the last half hour, they've heard us declare war on Indiana, and then in sports you go, an update on my snowmobile saga. The whiplash they must be experiencing right now.
Well, I hope you're enjoying it.
I hope so, too.
We also found out from Ramblin' Ray, our friend down the hallway, is a snowmobile aficionado. He races snowmobiles.
Which, by the way, what a cool hobby.
I would die.
Oh, my God. I buy baseball cards like an idiot. He races snowmobiles.
If someone said to you, let's say someone you didn't know and you met him, what's Brian really like? Well, he's really great on the radio, and he also races snowmobiles. I would die. Instead, I don't even know what the second thing is you say about me to people.
You don't want to know?
I don't think No, I don't want to know.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. We'll get you on the phones for Clash with Kenzie, but Kenzie's out sick, so it'll be the Brawl with Brian coming up here shortly, so stay here. Now, we have a lot of people texting in about basically what the hell's going on. I think that's what they're asking if you just happened to tune in and weren't here for the last 45 minutes of what's happened on the show and what's happening in our area of the region, Indiana and Illinois, and why we're angry at each other. Case?
Well, Chris checked in and relevant information. He's from Griffith, Indiana.
Got it.
And he texted and said, wait, I just tuned in. Why are we going to war on Indiana? Chris, it's a whole thing. I apologize. We'll see you on the battlefield.
Yeah, just go to the podcast, check it out. I'll give you a quick snippet of it, is that the fact today that made your brain go is that in Indiana, their state Senate is putting a bill through to legally seize 30 counties from Illinois that want to secede and redraw the border. This is something you haven't heard since the 1800s. Now, these people want to secede because of the high taxes in Illinois, and I get it. I've looked at houses myself in Indiana and thought about it. But now we're at war, and I got to defend Illinois somehow, which is the conflicted, complicated legacy is going to be me for when we look back on my deathbed.
Eventually, war finds us all. We're all victims eventually.
Annie checked in. We also had the snowmobile conversation. And she said, I'm just imagining the show this morning. There will be a line of people with their snowmobiles ready to slide all the way to Indiana and start the invasion. Y'all be reenacting the Battle of Hoth with snowmobiles at the border of Indiana and Illinois. If you're a Star Wars fan, you get that reference. Well, this is where we're at. This is where we're at. We'll keep you updated as we do. We don't have a scroll on the bottom like, Fox and CNN and all that to let you know. So this show will just verbally keep you updated.
I do like that Phil in Portage Park, he wants to capture the crown jewel of Whiting, Indiana, which is the Horseshoe Casino there.
Ooh.
I think that's the first place we got to take.
We need that place.
We need it. We have to have it.
Because the troops have to be entertained.
Come on now.
That's the first thing I can think
A
of.
little poker never hurt the troops.
Or concerts.
God forbid.
Okay. 312-591-8300. Call now to compete against me with Kenzie out. The Brawl with Brian happens today and right now. So if you think you can beat me in trivia, call 312-591-8300 right now. I won yesterday, by the way.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
Q101.
So Kenzie's out, so it's Battle with Brian, the Brawl with Brian. So 312-591-8300. Call now to compete against me in trivia. I won yesterday when Kenzie was out sick, so let's see what happens. Bring it. Now, very similar to this war that seems to have started here in the last hour with Indiana, we read the fact that made your brain go, which Indiana is trying to grab 30 counties and redraw the border from Illinois. Now, these counties have willingly said they want to secede and head to Indiana because of the high taxes in Illinois, which I understand. I've looked at houses in Indiana myself. But certainly, lines are dividing and families are being broken up already in the past hour with this war with Indiana on the Illinois side. Karen checked in and said, I think Illinoisians, now she's from Indiana, says should have to compete a series of challenges to prove they have what it takes to become a Hoosier. Now, instantly I thought of the MTV The Challenge. The reunion show was on last night. I didn't see it yet. No spoilers, please. But I have already put in a DM to Johnny Bananas to lead one of the armies that will go into Indiana to help us take it, because that was a good point. We certainly have people that certainly need to have a challenge level.
But isn't war a challenge in itself?
Well, it is, but that's what she's saying, that we don't have what it takes to take Indiana.
All right. right. I understand now. Well, Brian, I know we have a Coldplay song to play. You're going to play trivia against Tracy from Chesterton today.
Oh, no.
So it's Illinois versus Indiana in battle with Brian as well.
Now, should we settle this with the challenge here today and we won't go to war and we'll save lives? If I win, Illinois wins. If she wins, we give them the 30 counties from Illinois?
I think that's up to Tracy.
Well, we'll talk to her after Coldplay and see what she wants to put on the line. Her house or my apartment that I rent. It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
You can't defeat her. She's too powerful.
Klash with Kenzie.
Let the battle begin.
Q101.
Well, we've been talking all morning, at least for the last hour, about a possible war situation from Indiana's situation of trying to grab 30 counties that want to secede in Illinois and redraw the border. In the old days, that would be war, no question. Without question, there wouldn't even be a debate. Today, I don't know if anybody really wants to go to war, but certainly on the text line and people calling in and checking in and DMing, there's already been some skirmishes on the border. Some people have seen some have not. You have a text there, case on someone that just saw something or no?
Well, we're getting texts all morning of people crossing over to that border. Some saying they've seen the beginnings of war. Some it hasn't hit that part of the border just yet. But we have what will end up being, I think, one of the most highly contested games of Clash with Kenzie of all time, because we have Tracy from Chesterton who is playing to defend the state of Indiana's honor.
Is that right, Tracy? Are you taking that on your back there?
Yes, I am.
Now, is this willing? Are you okay? Did you want to do this, or just are you service of Indiana, but you're not happy about it?
Well, I would like to have some blue counties from Illinois over here in Indiana.
Well, redrawing the border is a big deal, so we'll see how that plays out. Now, are you willing to put on the line today our trivia competition that decides the fate of this conflict?
Yes.
People of Indiana, Tracy's your girl. You should be rooting for her heavily right now.
This is really high risk, high reward, because there's no concert tickets if Tracy wins, only the fate of Indiana. It's a lot of pressure here.
I mean, certainly some concert tickets would be nice, but the fate of a state is a bigger deal. So here we go. First one to 5 wins. Listen carefully. If I get one wrong, you can steal a point. I can do the same to you. And I'm feeling so confident today, I'm doing what I did yesterday. I am deferring, no coin toss. I give it to Tracy in the honor of war.
Well, thank you.
And country that I am honoring my villain competitor that much, where I give them the first question.
There you go. All right.
Go ahead, Tracy.
Tracy, last week tonight is an HBO news program hosted by which British comedian?
Oh, I have no idea.
3, 2, 1. I guess not. British comedian. Is it the guy from Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Russell Brand?
Yes.
No, Brand. He doesn't do a news program on HBO.
Oh, dang it. I didn't know that either.
It's John Oliver.
Oh, John. How did I know that? Okay, you know what? It's time to focus.
Yeah,
okay.
focus on Brian.
Sorry, the fog of war hit me. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Let's do it.
All right, Brian. A pickle is made from which fruit or vegetable?
I believe that's a cucumber.
That is a cucumber.
All right, there we go. One for Illinois. Shots fired. Yeah!
Tracy, name one NFL team in the playoffs other than the Rams or Eagles who have been previously mentioned.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, boy. That was my answer. Congratulations, Tracy. It's 1-1.
All right, Brian, another sports question for you. Who currently holds the MLB record for the most home runs ever?
The most home runs ever is... Why am I drawing a blank on this?
I don't know. 3.
It's not Barry Bonds, right?
It is Barry Bonds.
Okay, thank you very much. Woo! Close. The fate of the state was on. I'm really getting nervous
Why are
here.
you out of breath?
I have been working out a little bit.
2-1 back to Tracy. Tracy, your question. What is the top number in a fraction called?
The numerator.
Numerator's correct.
Oh, boy. 2-2. Here we go. War's certainly tight here.
It is. Brian, what's the bottom number of a fraction called?
The denominator.
The denominator's correct. 3-2.
Okay, let's go.
Tracy, your question. Launched in July of 2023, what social media platform did Meta create to rival Twitter?
Oh,
3.
was it Musically?
It was not Musical.ly.
I have to say, this still comes up on my timeline. It's still very annoying when Facebook tries to send you there. I made a profile only for Q101 and haven't touched it since. It is called Threads.
It is called Threads.
All right, let's go.
Bad news for Tracy. It is 4-2. It is Brian's question. An emphatic blow can be dealt in the war of Indiana, Illinois in 2025 with a correct answer. God, that was loud in my headphones. All right, Brian, your question for the win.
Uh-huh.
Which of the following is a prime number? 3, 45, or 77?
3.
3 is correct.
Let's go! Where's the national anthem? I need something. Come on. I need Proud to be an American. Where is that? Come on.
Give me something. Make me feel patriotic.
Oh, no.
I don't know if the breaking news audio is going to do it.
No, this isn't good
Oh,
enough.
give me Lee Greenwood. Come on.
No,
Proud to be an American.
let's do this. Come on, let's do it right. I just saved Illinois from Indiana. Tracy representing Indiana, of course.
And Tracy, great game, by the way. I'm sorry you didn't win.
There we go, better part. Tracy, we love you and thank you. We appreciate you. And as an honorable man, you get ready to join our war camp over here. We got to put you in there.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. I feel good. 2-0.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.